New York Post reporting that Goldman Sachs is lifting all COVID protocols as it, is trying to tempt or persuade or just state that staff have to return to the office full-time. Joining us now to break it all down, Bloomberg's Sridhar Natarajan. Is this a change? Is this different from what we already expected from Goldman?
It's in line with expectations. Remember, a bigger bank, JP Morgan, even a few months back said even the unvaccinated can return to the offices. What Goldman's saying is something along the same lines, a little more incremental. They're saying the same things. They invite everyone back into the office. They're getting rid of the testing regime, but that we're seeing across corporate America. The protocols we had in place for much of the last 2 years are going away, even though sadly the virus is still very much in place. And even now we have about 500 Americans dying every day. But what Goldman is doing here, we have to be clear, is in line with what the rest of their corporate brethren are doing.
There is an aspect of this that is about health and safety and what to do next. There's an aspect of it that's just about work and coming back in and the leverage an employer has. How much of a bellwether is Goldman when you saw companies like Carlyle and Lazard letting people work from pretty much anywhere they wanted for extended periods of time?
And we have seen that theme play out over the last 2 years. We know that the Goldman CEO, David Solomon, has been a champion of work from the office. We know that they've been in the forefront of this push to get people back in the office. And this is another note where even though David Solomon does not have to explicitly say this means you have to be back in your seat 5 days a week, that's the message that people will take away, especially when we are heading into a season where people are expecting layoffs, where Goldman itself has come out and said that they will be carrying out a layoff exercise. That's got to make people a little more anxious.
Especially when you think about how far we've come in the last 2 years. The slide deck that was heard around the world with some of the analysts really speaking up about mental health, burnout, exhaustion. How do you think that folds into a 5 days? Again, I know that they're not saying mandatory 5 days, but sort of the pressure that they feel on the 5 days, and more of to Shonali's point too, how Goldman can lead other banks in doing this.
The pendulum swings, and who really has the leverage now? 2 years ago, when you had work round the clock, you almost could think that the talent, your junior bankers, had a little more sway and say and could express their concerns and frustrations. Right now, when we're talking about hardly any banking activity out there, business being really slow, can you really be that person who's raising concerns about being overworked when you know that the bank is looking at various cost-cutting measures?